Okay, how's it going, lads? Today we're going to be talking about Rono or Zoro and the whole Cross Guild arc. Because I believe there is going to be some involvement with Cross Guild in upcoming arcs. And I have a really interesting idea. I'm sure it's been talked about in stream somewhere or something. I don't fucking know. But I do want to bring it up because when I saw the Cross Guild stuff, it was one of the first things I thought about. Which was, for the first time in One Piece, I believe, when we fight up against Cross Guild, Zoro is going to take the main protagonist role. Now, I know how weird that sounds, so just hear me out for a bit, right? Because everyone's worried since Wano how it ended and how it was sort of rushed out the door. That, like, I don't know, are they going to fuck up the mihawk Zoro fight? Oh no, we can't have that. Oh Jesus. You know, everyone's on the fritz, yeah? Everyone's like having a panic attack. So I thought the best way Oda might handle this without, doing what he usually does, is making Zoro a temporary main protagonist in a way where it's like, for example, let's say, because we've got the, Cross Guild, yeah? And Buggy is technically the head, right? So he's obviously the one that Luffy is going to fight, right? And then Mr. Prince is going, or Sanji is going to fight Crocodile, and then Zoro's going to fight Mihawk. That's if we get a fight, but let's just assume we do for a second, because I do want to talk about it quite a bit. And it's that, in my opinion, I personally believe that because of, Luffy and Buggy Luffy being so far above Buggy, I don't feel like Oda's going to feel the need to heavily focus on Luffy's fight. It might become one of those fights like the King and Zoro fight or the Sanji and Queen fight, where it's not the primary focus or it finishes first. Because what I think might happen, and hear me out here first, right? We might get, to be fair, I don't know which order this could go in. It could go Sanji's fight, then Luffy's fight, or it could go Luffy and Sanji's fight. Because in a way you could say, this is really prioritizing Zoro. So Zoro is going to have the final fight in this arc. Now, I know the main protagonist tag is a bit much, so maybe it won't entirely focus on Zoro. But I do think we are going to get a lot to do with Zoro that Wano was setting up that we may not have understood at the time. Sure, we got stuff with, like, the daimyo of... What was the daimyo? Was it no, Curry? No, not Curry. That was Odin. The daimyo of the snowy place in Wano, wherever that was, right? And the whole point was that he looked like Zoro and his relation to Yamato and all that type of jazz, right? But my whole point here, and hear me out, is that this fight, like this Mihawk and Zoro fight, is going to be the main fight of the arc. So it's going to have the main protagonist sort of style fight, where all the other fights have ended beforehand. It gets a lot of gravitas, and we get like 10 or so chapters, maybe 5 because he's rushing the story, focused on this fight and solely this fight and stuff like that. And it's the primary fight, it's primary development for the character, it's where their big power up comes in. A standard Luffy fight, and their main motivation for the entire arc is brought in, everything they've built up to is very important. And for this particular fight, it'd be all about the greatest swordsman and what that means, and Mihawk's story and Zoro's story. Because I feel like Oda understands, out of every single one of the Straw Hat streams, the one most of us are attached to is the Mihawk one, is the fact that we want to see Zoro beat Mihawk, right? Because obviously we kind of just assume the Pirate King stuff is going to happen because it's the main character's dream. But I do feel like to give this greatest swordsman title the right attention it needs, you will need to temporarily turn Zoro into the main character of this arc. Now, I know how wild that sounds, and I get it, right? It's like, Oda never takes Luffy away from the spot. He'd take away the crew like he did Marineford and makes the best arc in the entire series. He's not going to take Luffy away, right? But the whole point, in my opinion, is that I think Oda understands the gravitas of this particular moment, of Zoro becoming the greatest swordsman, right? I don't feel like any of the other Straw Hat dreams need that much focus, right? They can have a chapter or two of focus for the achievement because they're not combat feats, right? Sanji's whole achievement is the all blue, and if what we assume is right, that's going to happen once we find the One Piece, right? So the whole gravitas of finding the One Piece is going to be shared with the gravitas of finding the all blue. And Nami's dream of drawing a map, we might not even see that. That might be a spin-off series where Nami goes around and finally completes our map. You know, or an epilogue chapter or something like that. We won't even get to see her completing her dream, right? And then Robin's, I don't actually know what Robin's dream is to live, right? But I'm assuming it's also to find the One Piece and find out the truth of the Void Century. So we're going to find that out as well. And that's going to be given the right amount of gravitas that it deserves. Then obviously Chopper's whole dream is going to be completed with him curing Luffy's illness. And that's probably going to have a lot of focus as well. In fact, this cross-guild arc might even set it up. Maybe that's the side plot that we focus on with Luffy, is that, you know, maybe he's struggling a little bit with Buggy because he's quite sick, right? And it's a lot less of a... Maybe every time Luffy gets sick during the fight, people are like, wow, Captain Buggy is so strong. Look, he's making the Emperor Luffy keel over in pain without even moving towards him, right? And it's all because Luffy's sickness is far along. And maybe with all the Gear 5 stuff, that sort of speeds it up, you know? And then we get some stuff with Roger and why he has the sickness, like a flashback and shit. And then Chopper ends up healing it in the next arc as we get towards Laugh Tale. And it's a big achievement as Luffy goes into the final war as a healed man. Do you know? And that's Chopper's goal. And we obviously have completing the journey will be Frankie's goal, because he will have made the ultimate ship that has done everything that the Pirate King has done, and even better at that point, right? He has already made the ultimate ship. And Brook is going to meet Laboon when the Grand Line, or when the Red Line is destroyed. That's going to, like that, all these dreams in what I'm trying to say aren't, don't need as much focus as the Mihawk and Zoro dream. That is a massive fight, or that is a dream about a fight that needs to happen, that needs to show off the skills of one of the top tiers of the series. Arguably the top one in the series, right? So it's a very important goal to have and to focus on, right? And I think the best way to do that would be to have Zoro take over a pseudo main character role, because then we could give that fight the right attention it deserves. Because as I said before, Buggy is not that strong of an opponent, and if Luffy's fighting against Buggy, I feel like it'd be better off putting that to a side fight, like the fight Zoro and Sanji would usually have in the arcs, and then giving all the main focus to the Zoro and Mihawk moments, right? And again, as I said, it could just be that fight in particular. You don't have to actually make Zoro the main character for the arc, literally, but you could just have his fight take primary focus and be the last one to finish, to show Mihawk the respect he deserves, and also give Zoro that moment that he's always wanted, right? In that sense of the word, you know? Now, oh no, maybe this sounds like a load of bollocks to you, and that's fair. That is fair, to be honest with you, because as I said, Luffy's never taken out of the role. And as I said, there's an easy way to make the Buggy fight more intensive with adding in the sickness that Roger got and saying Luffy has it as well, or problems with Gear 5. There are ways to make that fight more intensive. And you could also say, because Crocodile is technically the figurehead, we might have Sanji fight off against Buggy and Luffy have a rematch against Crocodile. But I really don't see that, to be honest with you. I feel like the Mr. Prince stuff is set up in Alabasta, you know, the clash of emperors with Buggy versus Luffy, you know, and then Mihawk and Zoro. The combinations are just too perfect. That's why I don't think there's any way around it, you know what I mean? Now, obviously, let me know what you guys thought, to be fair. I want to know what you guys think about this idea. I'm personally a big fan of it, and I really want to see it happen. I don't know what arc it might take place in. I feel like it wouldn't happen in Elbaf, because Elbaf itself will be given a lot of focus, and that will mainly be Usopp's arc. And as I said, I feel like if this were to happen, it would give a lot more meaning to, let's say, all the Zoro stuff in Wano, because I feel like that's where we're going to get all the, missing pieces filled in, and it's going to make Wano feel way more complete, in my opinion. And actually, we have to talk about Wano as a whole, and what Wano will be in the future later on, but that's for another video entirely. Anyway, as I said, make sure to let me know what you guys thought about this entire idea in the comments below. And with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe for more content from me. And I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.